I'm literally gonna freaking cry. I'm crying. I don't know if I'm making sense at all. This is how my brain feels right now while reading this book. Wow. Hello my bookworms, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney and welcome to a feature-length film of this next edition in the Blank Made Me Do It series where I read my favorite booktubers' favorite books. So hey, what's up? How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. Next in this series is one of my really good friends, Daryan. If you don't know her, you should. She is an absolute angel, a joy to be around, a joy to interact with. She's absolutely hilarious and one of the sweetest people that I have ever met. I'm so grateful to call her a friend and I'm so excited to read her favorite books and possibly trash them. No, I'm just kidding. I have actually high hopes for quite a few of these books. And so we're going to go through them and read them together. She sent me a list of her 5 favorite books. And at this point in time when I'm filming this intro, I have already read all of them. So you're getting all 5 of the books plus the extra bonus book, because if you are unfamiliar with this series, at the end of the list of the booktuber's favorite books, I have them send me a personalized prompt in which I then find one final book to read as a finale. So there are 6 books in this vlog and I hope y'all are ready to buckle up and get on into it, because I don't want to make this any longer than it needs to be. So let's get on into the video. Thanks so much for being here. Let's go. Hi, hello. Welcome to the first book of this vlog of Daryan Made Me Do It. I'm very excited to pick up this first book. I've heard really good things about it and I haven't read a book with this premise yet before. So the book is The Charm Offensive by Alyssa Cochran. Unsure. But this is one of Daryan's favorite books, so we are going to pick it up and I have to actually finish it today. I've had it in my library on Libby as an audiobook for almost the whole length of my hold on it, and there are already 2 people waiting in the wings to snatch it after me, and it will get returned later today. So we need to finish it today. And right now I have got into just a couple pages into week 2, which is around page 70 or so. And like I said, I haven't read a book with this premise of being on a TV show, like a reality TV show set. I wasn't sure what to exactly expect because I don't necessarily watch these types of shows either. This is basically a bachelorette style TV show in which our main character, Dave, he's a handler of some of the stars on the show. And then our other main character is Charlie, who is this super awkward tech guy that somehow got casted into this role. And he doesn't know how to act on the cameras. He doesn't really know how to even talk to women. And now he has 24 women trying to get his attention and win him over in love. And he's just not the reality TV show type. So it is bound to be a disaster. But Dave here is he grew up watching this show and he is someone who definitely believes in fairy tale love and is really trying to get Charlie his fairy tale love proposal at the end of the show. And I have some immediate thoughts. Obviously I'm not too far, but some immediate thoughts of the story so far is that, the story so far, what's up? But immediate thoughts anyways, are that I am loving the writing. I think that it is super easy to get through, very easy to hold my attention. The characters are written in a way that I'm really enjoying, really finding it easy to relate and want to hear more from all of them. The fact that we're following these characters on this reality TV show set, we are able to see all of the setup drama that gets produced and executed. So obviously there's just drama within the TV show, but there's so much drama behind the scenes that create that drama for the TV show, and there's just drama. There's a lot of drama and I'm definitely here for it. It's super fun and Dave has my heart. I love him so much. But Charlie, I love Charlie too, but let me just tell you, if I didn't already know that this was a gay book, I would know that it's a gay book. It is so painfully obvious that Charlie is not into women as someone reading it from the outside. And I say this especially because as the story is going on, we are realizing how much easier it is for him to relate and talk talk to and get deeper in conversation with Dave than with any of the women on the show. Granted, it's a not high stakes, but it's a high drama situation, and I'm sure everyone would be a little bit awkward, but there are some certain things going on in like the narrative that's like, I don't understand how Dave doesn't see, like him being a grown man doesn't see that maybe he's not straight. At least not straight all the way. But again, I'm very excited to continue the book. I know that Daryan cried with it. I don't know what exactly would possibly make me cry, but again, I'm very excited to continue the book, and we will be finishing it today. So I am going to go read, and then I'll come back at the end because I don't want my hold to lapse. So I'm gonna like power read it, and then we'll come chat about it. I finished The Charm Offensive. Obviously, I cried quite a few times. I wasn't expecting to cry, and at those times of the book, I was just like, hey, I'm gonna film some B-roll, you know, get some B-roll footage. And then like 10 pages later into that footage, I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling too much. And I obviously started sobbing. But it was phenomenal. I really, really love this book. I will definitely recommend this to people. And here are some thoughts. Though, like I previously said, that maybe like the miscommunications, or I don't know what exactly to call them, but the maybe obliviousness to the situation on Dave's part in the beginning definitely was something that was a little bit hard for me to, you know, feel like it was real. I felt like it was very hard to believe that he didn't even think about the fact that possibly maybe Charlie is bi or gay or not completely straight. That part was a little bit frustrating at times. Just the story's trajectory and really following these characters like throughout the different scenes of this show, traveling to all these different places, Dave and Charlie like obviously falling in love, and all of like the practice dates and things that they went on in the beginning to get Charlie to be able to connect deeper with the women obviously became something more, and I just thought that it was really cute. It was really fun. The LGBT representation in here was top tier. I loved it so much, as well as the mental health representation. Like there was heavy anxiety, OCD, depression, and like discussions about panic disorders, and just I felt like it was represented really, really well. Like I definitely have dealt with some of those things in the past, and I felt like validated or seen in some of the situations, because sometimes the things that were being said, it was very on the nose of like what has gone through my mind sometimes. And I especially love reading about characters like waking up moments, you know, when they realize that like there is a name to what they're feeling. Like the discussions about ace, demisexuality, like it was awesome. It was really good. And obviously I did cry. In my defense, I am already very emotional today for whatever freaking reason. So I think that the way that I feel in my personal life made this book feel even more dramatic to me, which I mean was great. It was a great experience. I think that this book was really, really good, and I want to give it either like a 4.5 or a 5, like for sure. Absolutely. So that being said, first book of Daryan's vlog is done. Next time you see me, we will be introducing the next book. So I will see you so soon. So the next book on the list of Daryan's favorite books is The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This one I am on page 187 of right now, so almost kind of halfway. And so far in this one, we know that our main character, Donis, has always felt kind of like she doesn't belong in any specific place, whether it be at home or in the nearby Ojibwe reservation. And she was looking forward to going off to college and having a new fresh start, but because of some unfortunate circumstances that have happened, her uncle David dying and then her grandma having a stroke, she decided to stay home for her first year of college and help her mom take care of things with her grandmother can marry. While all of that has happened, there's also a lot of dealings with drugs within the community, within the Ojibwe community, and it's starting to affect more and more people. And she learns some really interesting things already so far within the book, and eventually, this is in the synopsis as well, so it's not a spoiler, but she eventually agrees to be like an undercover, like a CI, confidential informant for the FBI in this investigation of this like drug type situation going on, since it's like really hurting and killing people within her community. And that's pretty much what we know so far. One thing I really like about Donis is that she plays hockey. I love that she is like one of the few women who have joined her boys hockey team and like been able to hold her own. Like she's pretty badass for that, and I really love it. Plus I just really love hockey. And there's this new like soup is what they call him, like a new guy that came to join the team this year named Jamie Johnson, and he and Donis are like buddies basically, and there's some interesting developments between their relationship that's going on right now. But about the book itself, there are a couple things that I'm really enjoying, which is the educational sort of new information that I'm able to take in regarding like the Ojibwe culture and Native American culture. I love listening to the audiobook because I can hear how specific words are supposed to be pronounced. The narrator is also really good. I like her voice a lot. So I think that that's really helping me with this book for sure. Other than that, even though I'm already almost 200 pages in, I feel like we're just building right now. I feel like there's a lot of things that are going on that will come together somewhat soon. So right now I am enjoying my time reading it, and I'm definitely like anticipating what's going to happen. And I definitely want to like get there and figure out what is going to happen. So that being said, I'm going to go read some more, but I wanted to just, pop on and give you the, hey, what's up? This is what's happening part of this book. And I will come back once we have more thoughts or things are happening. Hi, hello. I am almost done. I'm almost done with Firekeeper's Daughter. I'm on page 373. I only have like an hour and a half left of the audiobook or something like that. And I have a lot of thoughts, and I don't know if they're all good at this point. I'm going through it right now. So I have a lot of theories of what is about to happen. One main theory of like who's the good guys, who's actually the bad guys, and like who we should be trusting, but who our main character like isn't caring about, who our main character is disregarding, or who they're paying attention to. Like there are so many things going on that I am just kind of angry about. So that being said, I feel like if this book is going in the direction that I am predicting, I'm gonna be a little bit angry about it. And there are two ways that people go, when they read a thriller. It's like if you guess the plot twist, then you're like, yes, I am detective. I know everything ever. And you feel good about it. Or there are times where it's like, oh, that was underwhelming. I saw that coming and I hated it. And I'm more in the latter of this because if this book is going in the direction that I am predicting, it feels like it's so obvious to me. So I'm really hoping that something big happens in these last like 100 pages or so, because the breadcrumbs that are being dropped, I feel like are, again, just like super obvious, or they're wanting me to think that that's what's happening, that I'm supposed to be thinking that it's going in this one way isn't where the story seems like it's going, but it seems like it's also a logical like side path. I don't know if I'm making sense at all. This is how my brain feels right now while reading this book. Basically, I just wanted to document that I feel like I know where this is going, and I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that something big and crazy happens. And for some spoilers, so skip ahead if you haven't read this book and you don't want to be spoiled, because I need to get some things off my chest. I feel like Donis and Jamie's relationship is just annoying. Like in the beginning, they're like, this is strictly professional. We're going to keep it separate, church and state type thing. But then like she starts to get feelings, and then all of a sudden they keep going back and forth between like, oh, I kind of like him. Maybe this can work, to no, I hate him. I don't trust him. I don't know if I can trust him. And then all of a sudden they're like on this date for her birthday, and it's like all of a sudden super okay. They're like, everything's good, felt very insta-lovey, and then they started having sex, and he does say, he's like, I love you. And I was like, the fuck? And so my theory is that obviously he's saying this so that she will actually fall for him, and then she will tell him what she's been hiding from him in the investigation, because obviously she hasn't been informing the FBI of everything that she has recovered as information. So I'm thinking that he's obviously using her, and he doesn't actually like her, but then at the end of the story, he's gonna be like, no, I really do love you. It was a lie at first, but I do, I promise. And I'm over it. And then my other theory is that the res police are actually the good people, and Donis's brother, Levi, is actually the person that's like cooking the meth or, you know, distributing it. And we're being led to believe that Donis shouldn't talk to anyone, especially the res police, because they don't know about the FBI's investigation. And I'm wondering if the Johnsons, like Jamie and his uncle, whatever, his FBI partner, are even FBI. Or if they are FBI, but they are covering up things and not actually caring about what's happening to the community, you know? Addendum. Or it's Grant Edwards, you know, the Call Me Grant coach guy that is doing all of the things because he's a creep. So yeah, lots of thoughts, and I just want to know if I'm correct. So I'm gonna go back to it, and I will come back once I have finished. Okay, hi, hello. I have finished Firekeeper's Daughter, and we can talk about it now. So, obviously, last time we spoke, I was spewing off some of my thoughts and theories, and I'm happy to say that I was actually surprised with some of the plot twists that happened. I was correct about some and most of what I thought was going to happen, which was fine, because there were extra added plot twists that I didn't see coming at all. And the ending, I really liked. I think that the ending made this book feel a little bit more real, like tangible, I mean. So all in all, I think that this book did a lot of really great things. It talked about some really important topics that are happening within the Indigenous communities that most of us probably aren't aware of. And obviously this is like just scratching the surface of what those troubles and issues are that these Indigenous communities go through. But I do feel like this book was a good kind of starting point if you are not educated in the ways that some Indigenous communities live and operate, I guess I could say. I found the culture extremely interesting. I loved learning about all of the things that Donis talked about, and I just really loved the ending. I thought it was stunning, and I kind of loved it. As you know, my only big issue with this book was Jamie and Donis's relationship. It felt a little insta-lovey at times because they were just so hot and cold. I felt like their relationship was all over the place, and it didn't seem that real. It didn't make sense to me a lot of the time, but other than that, I really liked the story. And that being said, I think that I'm giving this book like a 4.5 out of 5. I think that that's where I'm at. There are just so many parts of this book that felt really special and raw and real to me that I related to in some ways that made me really like feel things, and I feel like they'll stay with me for a while. So yeah, very happy. I was nervous about this one. I didn't know what to expect with this title, so super excited. I'm really glad that this ended up being really good because it was a roller coaster. There was a lot of times in this book where I was like, I might hate this, but it ended up being stunning. I loved it. So yeah, I will see you once I know what the next book in this vlog is. Hello, welcome back. I am now 162 pages into Where Dreams Descend, and so far, what I'm gathering is that our main character is a magician. She has been taught by this guy named Jack, who is the keeper of this club called the Hellfire House. And our main character, Kalya, is the, showgirl of the house. But she has bigger dreams, bigger aspirations to be doing more with her magic, and not just the shows that she's, allowed to do, you know? And so she hears of this, magician's competition in this, really run down, haunted kind of city in the middle of the woods. I don't know if it's haunted yet, but it has sinister rumors about it, you know? And so she runs off and joins this magician's competition, and that's where we're at. But there's some unseen force or person or thing taking out magicians one by one. So anyone could be next, anything can happen, so on and so forth, you know, high stakes. And right now, how I'm feeling is that I'm a little bit confused. I feel like not all of our characters are explained too well so far. I'm very confused by Jack, and I don't know if I like him. I don't know if I'm supposed to like him. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. His character is very cloudy for me right now because people fear him in the book, and Kalya is also kind of scared of him, but she also admires and really likes him, or they have some sort of history. I don't know if there's a history, but there's some sort of flirtation that goes on when they're together. But she also ran from him, you know, to go do this competition. So that on top of like whenever we have seen anything from him, it's been very minimal, and I just don't know what to think about him yet. I don't know what I'm supposed to think about him yet. So right now I'm just kind of like sussing him out. You know what I'm saying? That being said, I feel like there are other forms of the story that I am starting to understand a little bit more. I think that there was a lot of things introduced very swiftly in the book that weren't explained. I'm hoping that they are explained a little bit more later, which some of them are, like the history of this random creepy town in the middle of the woods. That history is being explained a little bit more, and obviously that history is a point of contention. Like, no, the people of the town don't like talking about it. There's something that they have like been keeping hidden, so that will be something that we will learn in the story that I'm hoping will be something like dark and mysterious. And then we have our other main character, DeMarco, who is one of the judges of the competition, and he is a young magician, but he's like retired because something went wrong in one of his performances, and then he like quit being a magician. And that is what I'm really intrigued on. I want to know what's up. I want to know why that happened. I want to know what happened. And he has like an ulterior motive to coming to this town. What is it even called? Of Glorian. He has an ulterior motive to be coming to Glorian to figure or find something out, and we don't know what it is yet. And that is the thing that I'm like most invested in at this point in the story. I just want to know what's going on with that. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that I am like interested enough to keep reading, obviously, but there are a lot of like bigger things that I'm just a little bit unsure of how to feel exactly. But that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to keep reading, and then we can chat again later. Okay, hi. I finished Where Dreams Descend. I have like so many questions. I'm like unsettled with how unsettled I feel. All day yesterday when I wasn't able to read, like when I had to take a break, I was thinking about this book. I was like, man, I just want to like go sit down and finish it. I want to see what's going on. And that doesn't happen with every book I read, so I was taking that as like a good sign, you know? I was like, maybe I am enjoying it more than I think I am. And it's not that I wasn't enjoying it, it's just that something feels wrong. Something just feels off about the story for me. I'm just gonna start like talking about my experience, and hopefully some intelligent something might come out of this, okay? So I was reading the book, and then I realized that I had gotten all the way to page 150, and there was a weird thing that happened. I was like, man, it doesn't feel like I've been reading for 150 pages. And then I was like, wait, what has even happened in 150 pages? And I was like, I don't know what's happened. Not much. But like I said in the previous clip, I was interested in all of the side characters. I was interested in all of the side plots and like offshoot things that were happening rather than like the competition itself. But I'm just like struggling trying to figure out what I can even say about this book because I didn't hate it. But by the ending, I was hoping to have a little bit more of my questions answered. And I have so many questions. Now I understand that this is a duology. There is a sequel. But I feel like in series, like the first book should at least give you something. Like there are so many things that were left untied. I still don't know what's up with Jack. I still don't know if I'm supposed to like him or not. And there was some weird, creepy shit going on with him with mirrors. And like he's talking to people in mirrors, talking to someone or something. And there was like some key character development point that was made about him that was never really explained or talked about, and I just felt like it was just brushed over. Like I don't know what to be thinking. The only constant character for me was Aros or whatever, Kalia's assistant that she found in the beginning of the book. Like when she first got to Glorian, there was like the thief that tried to steal from her, and then she like adopted him basically. He was my favorite. So I liked it, but I'm just like a lot of bit confused, and I don't know what to rate it. Kind of leaning towards maybe like a 3.5, give or take. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it was too long for me to have this many questions. You know what I mean? Like if a book is this long, almost 500 pages, closer to 450, there's enough time in these pages to give me some of those answers. And I get not giving me every single one of them because like, you know, you want your readers to read your second book. I'm totally down for that. But for me personally, my brain, I just feel like there was just a lot that was introduced and not explained. end. Or maybe it was, but not enough to give me that sort of like closure. That's where I'm at. That's how I'm feeling right now. So yeah, this one's finished. I am going to move on to the next book in this vlog, and that's it for now. That's it for now. Hello. The next book that was on Daryan's list of favorite books is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. I'm really looking forward to this one. I feel like this synopsis already has me intrigued and interested enough to have a high possibility of me enjoying it. And that being said, I am already on page 131, which is super cool. I started this a couple days ago. This book actually doesn't have an audiobook that exists for it, and I have been pretty much exclusively listening to audiobooks while reading it with my eyes for the last long while. So this book, obviously I have to read exclusively with my eyes, which is fantastic. It is literally like reading. That is the fundamental definition of what reading is. But I'm excited to be doing that. I'm excited to slow down and not try to get my speed up on my audiobook or whatever it is that I do sometimes. So I've been putting on ASMR rooms and reading this the past couple days, and I'm having a grand old time. I'm really enjoying this book. So this one is about our main character, Kamai. It might be pronounced Kamai or Kami. To me, it looks like Kamai, so it's Kamai. So it's our main character, Kamai, who her and her mother are soul walkers. So this means that they can travel within people's souls, or nems, I think is how it's pronounced, while they sleep. And in every soul that she has been in, she has seen this black door. And her mother has told her, don't go near it, whatever is in it. It wants you to open the door, and it seems very sinister because she's just not giving her a lot of information, but just saying stay away from it. And when Kamai puts her ear to it, she hears her name being said back to her. So eventually, obviously, she opens the door. And right now, we're figuring out what that entails, what is going on within that door, what it means for her in her waking world and waking self. And it's super interesting. I'm really loving the two different, almost timelines, not timelines, but avenues of story that we're following. One where she's in her waking world dealing with all of the drama and trauma that is going on in that situation, which I don't want to explain too much of to avoid spoiling anything for you. But aside from that story, we're also following her while she's soul walking and figuring out what is actually beyond this black door. And there's a lot happening. And the writing of this book is phenomenal. I love how atmospheric and descriptive it is. It's exciting, and I really like how the book is split up. I haven't read a singular timeline book in a while, it feels like, because at the end of every chapter, the next chapter pretty much picks off right where it left off or soon thereafter. And I feel like I haven't read a book like that in a while. I feel like it's always been and then later next week, or it's following a different person entirely on the next chapter. So this is a singular first person story type thing, And it's nice. I am just enjoying my experience so far with it. Hello, welcome back. I have finished Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. And I am embarrassed at how long it took me to finish this book. It took me at least 2 whole months to finish it, which isn't bad, but for me, that's a long time for me to read one book that is of this size, I guess. So what has happened with this book is while I was halfway through, I was almost halfway, and I just felt a slump. I just felt like I was going into a reading slump, and it was a big one. I was just having a really hard time focusing on the story, but I need to preface all of this by saying that this slump was not because I wasn't interested in the story, which made it even more difficult because I really like this book and I really loved the story. But this past month has been very trying for me. A lot has been going on with family and things like that and work. So this book not having an audio part to it to help me get through it a little bit quicker, or just to have someone read to me, I guess, was really weighing down on me because obviously reading solitarily without an audiobook accompanying it is a very focus driven situation, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I didn't have that focus. I didn't have that ability to just turn off the rest of my mind to focus on just the story. So not having an audiobook to help me do that was really hard these past couple weeks with everything else that's been going on. So I ended up putting this book down and reading one book in one day with an audiobook, and it was absolutely the right call because the
very next day, I picked Beyond the Black Door up again, and then I finished it in like, I think 2 days after that. And I'm so glad that I took that break, because I think that I really enjoyed the story a lot more than what I would have if I just like kept plowing through. So I'm here to tell you that I finished it, and we can chat a little bit about it. The major thing that I loved about this book was A.M. Strickland's writing. It is so atmospheric and descriptive, and I love that in my fantasy books. I want to emphasize the atmosphere too, because it was dark and moody, and I could honestly picture where I was, where I would be, what these characters were going through, and I think that that is always such a big ups to the author and being able to portray that on paper with words. But also, you have to have an interesting story, you know, and which this was. I really loved it, and I loved how the story went in between realms, like within the present world and the dream worlds, while also utilizing all of these like secret societies and corrupt politics to like push the narrative forward and make the story even more interesting. There were a couple plot things that were going on within the story that was making me kind of uncomfortable and not really sure that I liked where it was going. But ultimately, by the end of the book, those things were actually addressed, which I wasn't expecting. So I was nervous that some of the things that was going on, I was going to just be left with and having to like accept, but that's not what happened, and they were actually addressed. So I was really happy about that, and that made my rating for sure stay up to where it left off. I think that my only like critique of this story would be that maybe some of the characters, particularly the side characters, could have been a little bit more fleshed out or given a little bit more backstory than what we were given. For how important some of the characters were, I feel like we were just kind of introduced as like, this is who they are, and then the story progressed. It wasn't like, this is who they are and this is why they're so important to the narrative, or this is why they're so important to this secret society, or things like that. I do just kind of wish that we got maybe a little bit more detail on some of the side characters. However, the LGBTQIA representation in this book was literally unmatched. I will probably never forget messaging Daryan towards the end of this book, and all I said was, man, I am so glad that this book exists, because it touches on so many super important topics, especially in the asexual spectrum. Like, I'm just so glad that this book exists, and I love the story surrounding it, because not only was the information great, but the story alongside of this information was just super cool. And I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that it exists, and I'm happy that I really enjoyed it. And I think that I'm settling with a 4 to a 4.5 for this story. I think that A.M. Strickland's other book, which is In the Ravenous Dark, I really, really loved those characters a lot more than these characters, but I love this story more than that story, is kind of where I'm leaning with this author's work, which I think is super interesting. But regardless, I still had a great time with this book, and feeling great about it.
Hello, hi, welcome to the final, the final book on Daryan's list for her favorite books. I have strategically kept this one for the final because it is her all-time favorite book, and one that she repeatedly says that she knows that I will really enjoy. So one, that's kind of nerve-wracking because I don't want to put too many expectations on it, and I want to give it my best shot, you know, at really, really enjoying it. Because the synopsis of this book, I really genuinely do think that I have a good shot at liking it, but there's a lot of pressure on this book. It's Daryan's like all-time favorite, so I'm a little bit nervous. But the book is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Daryan hasn't told me specifically why she thinks that I would really like it, so before I started it, I didn't really know like what boxes it was going to check off right off the bat. But right now I'm on page like 50, and it was really funny because I started this book last night and it was way too late to be vlogging for me, but I was texting Daryan and it was really funny because I read the prologue, immediately put the book down, took a second, grabbed my phone to message Daryan and said, yo, that prologue though, it was only 2 pages and it was, wait, wow, exactly the vibes that I love. Very dark, very eerie, very, I don't know, heavy on the lyrical writing and fantasy vibes, and it was phenomenal. Those 2 pages were like setting this book up for success. And then I kept reading, obviously, and I already know that Daryan's probably right, that I will probably really enjoy this book. The writing is just absolutely stunning. This book is really reminding me of The Starless Sea in the sense that the writing writing is so beautiful. It's very lyrical, very floral and descriptive, while the world is also already, with me only being like 50 pages in, very intricate and just like insanely intriguing, because obviously I don't know much about it yet, but the way that Laini Taylor is setting it up is just, it's stunning. It's beautiful. One particular thing about the story so far that is setting it up to be a staple in my mind is the pure fact that in this book we have Laszlo Strange, who is a junior librarian, and he's been obsessed with the lost city of Weep ever since he was a kid, but the lost city of Weep wasn't its name. It was just like one day the real name of the city was like plucked from everyone's mind, and whenever Laszlo was trying to say the name of the city, Weep would come out of his mouth, and then he would taste tears on his tongue every time he would say the word Weep. Like, that in and of itself, iconic. Stunning. I love it. And according to the synopsis on the back, he's going to get this like wild opportunity to actually go visit the lost city of Weep by accompanying this god slayer, which we know nothing about. I have no clue what that's about yet. I'm just genuinely very excited to continue reading this. And that's what we're doing today. I'm set up for some reading sprints on my Patreon. We're just gonna hang out and get some pages in. Very excited about that prospect. And I will come back once I get a little bit more of a chunk eaten out of this book. Hello, I have made it to about halfway in Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and I'm having a really, really good time with this story. The world building so far is pretty intricate. There is quite a few things to keep straight, new words that I obviously didn't know because they're fantasy words, as well as learning what's going on within the conflicts in the story. And obviously, as the plotline is progressing, we are figuring out more and more details about said conflicts, what's been going on in the city of Weep. And one thing that has gone on is that like the God Slayer showed up in the town, city, whatever that Laszlo was in, and he basically recruited like the best of the best in every profession that, you know, exists and brought them back to the city of Weep to help figure out and solve a problem that's going on. And we're following that storyline while also following a different set of characters in a totally different situation but similar place or location, and it's very, very interesting. It's like we're getting both sides of the story, but slowly, because it keeps jumping to each point of view. But again, the magic aspects are super interesting, and I am mostly just enjoying the writing. I'm having a great time. I am definitely like underlining, bracketing, and the audiobook is really great. I had a moment in the beginning where I was trying to figure out where I knew this narrator from, and it was really, really bothering me. I don't know the name of the guy. It's the same narrator that did Elias's voice for Ember in the Ashes, and once I placed that, I can't like unsee it or unhear it, I guess. So it kind of took me a little bit to reorient my sound memory to focus that it wasn't Ember in the Ashes and that it is a totally different world that I'm like learning and listening to. That was really kind of interesting. I hadn't really had that happen before in my audiobook journey, I guess. But yeah, I'm having a really great time. Another thing that's happening this weekend, because it is May 20th right now, is the Bookathon. And I do work on Sunday, but I mean, I don't work today or tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to participate a little bit. And the first two roles were actually something that I could make fit for this book. So one of the roles was like gods or monsters, and this book has literally god spawns, god slayers. There's gods within this story, so I'm gonna count this. Hopefully I can finish this vlog within Bookathon. That would that would be cool. But yeah, so that's happening. We're doing Patreon sprints right now, and we're having a great time. And I'm gonna go read a little bit more before this sprint is up. Let's talk. So obviously I just finished Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and I'm upset. First of all, I want to mention that I failed Bookoplathon. I wish I didn't even mention it in this vlog because I should have known that I wasn't going to be able to participate at the extent that I wanted to because I had a lot of shit to do this weekend and I obviously didn't even finish one book. This book, the book I had already started before the readathon started. So I failed and we can just move on from it. But hi, I just finished this book. Some of those plot twists at the end, yeah, they were good. They got me. I did not see one in particular coming at all, and I think that it fits absolutely phenomenally. I think that the arc of these characters and how Laini Taylor interwove them and made them connect in so many ways was actually really great. And I also, wow, I don't believe what has happened in the last 50 to 100 pages in this book. Wow. Yeah, I really liked it. I did. I was definitely messaging Daryan throughout the time reading this book, and I would send her little pictures every now and then because I was having a lot of fun annotating this and like just scribbling some thoughts in the margins and underlining and bracketing a lot because the writing in this was absolutely stunning. Super floral, super lyrical, very quotable. I will definitely come back to this book and just flip through some of these things that I underlined because I love how Laini Taylor wrote certain feelings, certain emotions, and especially how she wrote her characters and like fleshed them out to be so freaking real. Our two main characters, Sarai and Laszlo, were so good. In particular, Sarai, I'm surprised at how much I love Sarai because the first time that she came into the book, I was very confused. I was like, one, who the heck is this person and what is going on? Why am I away from Laszlo? Take me back to Laszlo because I love him too. He's a sweet baby angel. After I started following Sarai's story more and more throughout the book because it would flip-flop point of views, you know. After I spent more time with Sarai, I fell in love with her. Like, I see myself in her a lot. The way that she was written and the way that she talked about and experienced her trauma and coped with it and went through it and started to heal from it. I'm literally gonna freaking cry. I'm crying. I'm blurry. My camera can't even handle my emotions. Yeah, it was, she was great. I think, oh my God, I'm literally sobbing. I think that how her character was written in and of itself is enough to give this book 5 stars. Honestly, that's how I feel. But add on Laszlo and his phenomenal character arc and also just him as who he is so perfect. I just want to put him in my pocket and keep him forever, okay? I love him. He's so smart, witty, funny, and just kind. And I just love them, all right? And now I'm like remembering how the book ended again and I'm so upset. And all the people that Sarai is with, like Feral, Sparrow, Minya, and, you know, Great and Less Ellen. It was super interesting following them. I think I didn't care so much about any of them besides Minya and Sarai, obviously. I mean, I cared about, like, Great Ellen because she was great, pun intended. But Sparrow, Feral, and Ruby, I don't think that they brought much to the table, personally. They brought stuff to the table for survival for all of them, but, like, in terms of storytelling, I don't know. It was kind of like they were not there and it was fine. I just didn't really care about them. I felt like they were just like filler people, you know what I'm saying? But every other character, like Sarai, Minya, Laszlo, Errol Fane, like literally everyone else carried the story so well. I am just now remembering Calixta. Where did she go? Calixta is just like a side character and I really loved her. I'm really upset that she just disappeared. I just realized that. She was like a big part of the story for maybe like 4 or 5 chapters. Not a big part, but like she was present. And then they get to the city of Weep and at some point in the story and she just like disappears. We just never heard from her again. I don't like that. I liked her. I'm upset. I'm going through this. I'm hashing out all my feelings with this right now with you guys. But yeah, I definitely just realized that. Don't like that. I wish there was some sort of like resolution with her or like maybe she's in the next book or something and that's all good and fine, but I wish we would have at least seen her towards the end of the book at least one more time just to like say, hey, hi, what's up? But okay, whatever. The final rating on this book obviously is 5 stars. That's how I feel and I'm feeling a lot. As I was finishing this book, Daryan actually just sent
me the next prompt for the final book in this vlog. So if this is your first like Blank Made Me Do It vlog, at the end of the list of the booktuber's favorite books, I have them send me a personalized prompt, and I then choose a book based on the prompt or scavenger hunt type thing. So you and I are going to watch this video prompt together, and then we will choose a book, okay?
Oh, Sid, thank you again for including me in this video series. I am very honored and also terrified, but it's fun. So I have my prompt for you, and since it's me, I have to make it a little bit complicated. But my prompt for you is to take the last book that you finished, go to the acknowledgements, and if the author thanked another author, then I want you to read a book by one of the authors that they thanked. And if they didn't thank any authors, take another book that you read recently, do the same thing.
Interesting.
And yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Thank you again. I love you very much. Okay, bye.
I love you first and foremost, and I don't think you need to be nervous, obviously, because this video is going pretty well. I have never seen that as a prompt ever. I think that you're a genius, okay? So obviously the book that I just finished, you already knew what book I just finished. So let's go to the acknowledgements of Strange the Dreamer, and maybe she knows what's happening. In the acknowledgements of Strange the Dreamer, there are plenty of names mentioned, but I don't know any of them. I don't know if any of them are authors. Yeah, I'm gonna say that there's nothing in this one that I can find, unless I'm missing something, but I really don't see anything. So I'm going to go to the book that I finished before this one and then do the same thing. I'll be right back. Let me find out which book I read last, because I don't even remember. I went to the last book that I read, and it was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and everyone that he thanked in that book was more so like personal people who are his beta readers and his publicist and all of these, you know, people that are close to him within his like circle and helped make that book become its thing. So then I went to the book that was before that one that I finished, and that was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. And there is actually other authors that I recognized mentioned in the acknowledgements. So there was a whole list of them actually. I had a few to choose from, and I didn't think that I would be reading this book anytime soon, but I think we're gonna read it. In the acknowledgements of Clockwork Angel, Cassandra Clare does thank Holly Black. And so we are going to read Holly Black's newest release, Book of Night. I've never read from Holly Black. I have no idea what to expect, but I just used a credit to get the audiobook, and we are going to dive in tonight, friends. It is a little bit shorter. It's only like 300 and some pages, I believe. Yeah, just over 300 pages, so that is appealing to me as well. Hopefully I can finish this, dare I say, tomorrow. Whenever I say that, it never freaking happens, so I should just learn to shut up. But no expectations. I think I will definitely start this tonight, though. Yeah, I don't know much about it other than our main character is a like morally gray con artist that is doing like small odd jobs to like make ends meet type thing, and she's a bartender, and there's something with shadow magic going on. It sounds intriguing enough. So, and I have this beautiful Fairy Loot edition, so we're gonna start it tonight, and I will come back with some thoughts probably tomorrow morning. Black, probably about maybe 45 minutes ago or so. After I read this book, I received emails from Avi's vet and got some really big bill quotes because Avi probably needs dental surgery. So I had a mental breakdown, emotional breakdown over it, but I want to update you on how this book went. So if my eyes are puffy, that's why. I didn't cry over this book. Absolutely not. We'll talk about it. But I will shamelessly say that if you want to help Avi get her teeth fixed so that she can eat biscuits again, I do have a Ko-Fi down in the description of the video. Anything might help. They're pretty substantial bills now. On top of renovating our house and on top of planning a wedding, I'm stressed. But this is where we're at. So we're dealing with it all at once. Regardless, hi, let's talk about The Book of Night by Holly Black. This is my first book by her. I really love the aesthetics of this book. I think it's really stunning. The synopsis and what this book is about, which is like dark shadow magic. And there's this like book that went missing that supposedly contains like secrets within the shadow magic world that everyone wants to know. And our main character is a con woman who's like really good at her job, but she got really deep into some shit and she wants to get out of that world. So she's been a bartender, but she obviously falls back into that world to give us the book that is Book of Night by Holly Black. And I don't know, because here's the thing. The ideas around this are super cool. I think that the shadow magic, amazing. I love how grisly this book got at times, and I was excited to read an adult fantasy book that had like some really dark ties within it. And I will say that when the book did get like exciting and like an action-y packed scene was happening, I was super into it. I was really enjoying my time reading it. But I do think that this book could have been like at least 200 more pages or something like that, because I do feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities within the world building and the like magic system building. It was confusing to me at times, and maybe I am just small brained for this book, but I don't know, my mind couldn't like grasp onto everything that was happening within the magic, and I just kept finding myself like pausing it and like trying to remember like, wait, who is that person, or wait, what does this word mean? Because there's a lot of like words that are very specific for specific types of things within the magic system, and what the shadows are called or what the shadows can do are called. I know that I read this book in 2 days, but I feel like I don't remember any of it. I feel like I didn't just read this book. The very few things that are memorable about this book to me are the descriptions of like some of the murder scenes. Those were really cool. Very dark, very descriptive, and I really loved how it was described. Like loved in like a morbid sense. Like it was just depicted very well and made me squirm a little bit, you know? The other things is I do like our main character, Charlie Hall. I thought that she was really cool. She gave me Bryce Quinlan vibes if you have read the Crescent City series. And then the other main character, Vince, like the love interest, perhaps, mayhaps, I thought that he was written really well. I do like how his character developed and his arc kind of like, ooh, I just remembered how the book ended at that moment. Yeah, fuck that ending. I really didn't like that ending. I do think that it left off in a way where there could definitely be a second book. I don't know if Miss Holly Black is planning on making this a series or not. I definitely see the potential, but if it's a standalone or if she's not continuing it, I could also see that like the open-endedness of this book could infer how like the rest of their lives will go, per se, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, wow. So I think that ultimately what I am going to say about this book is that even though I really did enjoy the ideas of the magic system, the shadow magic and everything going on within that, it was very interesting and the atmosphere was pretty well done. I felt like the story itself was lacking in descriptions and that there just could have been more exploration within the shadow world and within the magic system. And if there is a second book, then maybe we will get that. But in terms of thinking that this is a standalone, I definitely would have loved to see a little bit more of the darkness of the shadow world explored. That would have been awesome. So yeah, I feel pretty lukewarm about the book. The writing was good. I don't have any like pinpointed things that I hated about the story. It all just felt very okay to me. You know what this was kind of giving? Now that I'm thinking about it, this is kind of like a less cool version of Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Those are kind of the vibes. Like I loved Ninth House in a sense that it did a very deep dive within its world and characters and backstory within the Yale societies and whatever, so on and so forth. And this one, obviously being two different worlds, two different authors, two different everything, the vibes are very much similar now that I'm thinking about it. But this was much less descriptive. But again, everything that I don't love so much about it, I could still see why people would enjoy most every facet about this book, because it was interesting, it was dark, it was eerie, it was cool, but the execution of it all just kind of went meh for me. It was fine. I think I'll give it like a 3.5 stars. So obviously ending this vlog on a not so high note, but the majority of this vlog has been a very high note. I'm excited to watch back this footage and see how far we've come. because we've read quite a few books in this vlog. I hope that it's not an hour long. If it is, I hope that you are still enjoying your snacks and drinks. But out of all the books that we read in this book, there was Firekeeper's Daughter. I think that was like a 4.5 stars, maybe 5. I don't really remember. The Charm Offensive, absolute 5-star. Where Dreams Ascend was the 3-star for me. Beyond the Black Door, I think I gave it a solid 4. I'm trying to hold up 4 fingers. Ow. I'll do that. Oh, and Strange the Dreamer. That was like a 4.5 to a 5-star as well. So ultimately, this vlog was pretty successful. I had a lot of fun with pretty much all of these books in this vlog. And thank you again to Daryan for participating in this little series of mine. If you guys haven't subscribed to Daryan by now, please check her link out in the description. She is an absolute soft baby angel and I love her so much. I say soft baby angel. She is also a little bit sharp and sassy as well. So watch yourself, but she's phenomenal and her content is hilarious. Please go check her out and support her channel as well. And if you are still watching this video, then leave if there's a moth emoji. If not, then a butterfly. I'll settle for a butterfly down below in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.